Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Horse's Mouth Live. My name is Ellen Rogin, and as always, I have great guests to share really important, interesting information to help you in every area of your life, especially your business. And today we have Dr. Barbara Provost on, and we're going to be talking about working in the women's market. And I have to say, as someone who's been in the financial services industry for many, many years, it is shocking to me we're still talking about this. And yet this is an underserved market. The industry, I feel like, is trying, but is still missing the mark on how to serve women effectively. So Barbara's an expert on this. And let me give you a little bit about her formal intro. Dr. Barbara Provost is no stranger to hard work and challenges. She's the founder of Purse Strings, and she's leveraged her experience, her research background, continuous data gathering to help solve a really big problem. She found that women are consistently overlooked by financial organizations to the tune of, get this, possibly leaving $24 trillion of untapped sales on the table. So not only is this buying power ignored, but the lack of tailoring for women and the powerful demographic, this powerful demographic is so underserved and underplanned for their financial futures. I know people are trying, but it's still not there yet. So with the sole purpose in mind, Barb leveraged her years of consulting experience and expertise in adult learning to engage and reach women to create the first empowerment, education, and training tool to earn the vast spending power of the female dollar. She founded Purse Strings to offer straightforward financial advice and an available for hire network of vetted financial professionals who specialize in serving women. Barb, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a topic I just love to talk about.
Yeah, and we met, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago and have just become fast friends because we're both so passionate about this, knowing that as women are better served, better educated, they're going to make even a bigger difference with their dollars, not only for themselves and their family, but for the world as well. So let's go a little deeper. Like, how is it that women are such a powerful market?
So the data will tell you, and I've been through a lot of it, that women are a $23 trillion underserved market, and they're a very powerful market. When you think about just your own household, women make 95% of the purchasing decisions or influence the purchasing decisions in the household. So just the day-to-day operations of running a household, they're in charge and they make a lot of those decisions. Now, on the long term, when you're looking more long term in terms of investing and retirement, they don't always come to the table or invited to the table to have those conversations.
So what are financial institutions doing wrong? Like, how are they overlooking this market? Because we've known some of these statistics, and I know they change, but we've known these for a while. They know there's this untapped market there, or underserved market. Like, what are they getting wrong with this? And how are they overlooking it?
Yeah, great question. So, as I was a consultant in the financial industry, I could see in almost every point in turn, I could see in marketing materials that would have a white man and a white woman on the materials with a little boy and a little girl skipping down the beach. That does not reflect what's out in the arena these days. Moreover, the linear sales process, find a suspect, make them a prospect, you go through that whole assess, provide a product sale. And the whole intention was to end in a sale and then move to the next prospect. That linear sales process does not work with women. And that's because so often women want to do their own research. They have some questions. When we are making a purchasing decision, we want to take time to think about it. We might want to compare to some other options that we may have. And too often, we do not want to be pushed a sale. So I've even seen and heard financial professionals say, I don't like to work with women. They take too long to make a decision and they ask too many questions. And so they say, I move on. But there's reasons that women do that. There are reasons why they take a long time and they ask a lot of questions. And until the industry really realizes that women are not a one-stop shop, um, women are not trusting, right? It's that whole trust factor that's missing there. So too often women have also felt very dismissed and overlooked and, you know, condescended to, if you will, like, don't worry about that, honey. I can't tell you how many women have said to me, when I ask a question, they say things like, don't worry about that, honey. But I really want to know the answer. Or the number one thing I've heard over and over again, Ellen, and this is so sad, women will say, you know what, Barb? They don't even look at me. If I'm in the room, if I'm with my husband, they don't look at me. They don't ask me anything. They talk to my husband. And I just was tired of hearing that mantra over and over. And I said, this has to stop, because women need to, women are the result of all the planning, right? We're going to outlive our spouse. And so all those decisions made at the table will impact her more than it will impact him.
Yeah, I had a wholesaler tell me, this is a woman who's been in the industry for years. She's the primary breadwinner in her family. And she said her advisor was talking to her husband. And he knew what she did for a living. He saw where the income was, and he still was like directing the attention toward her husband. And it's not that he, the other spouse shouldn't be included, but not at the ignoring one spouse there. And I know people know this, but it still happens. So you were saying, Barb, that this linear sales approach doesn't work. Can you talk a little bit more about an approach that works better?
Of course, yes. So, women want to know, like, and trust, as we all do, but that takes time, right? So not trying to sell a product in the first sale is so important. It's really about getting to know who is your customer, and you're not painting all women with the same broad brush. Like, who is this person? What's important to them? What do I know about their family? Is she married, divorced? Does she have children? How old are they? Do they play sports? Are they living in town? Do they live away? What does she like to do in her spare time, free time? And although some people might be rolling their eyes and saying, why do I have to know all about that? Well, you know what? You're expecting this woman to turn over her nest egg to you, and you may not even know what it is that she wants to do with her life when she retires, or even today as she travels or wants to take tennis or send her kids to school, or whatever her desires are. It's really about getting to know who your client is as a whole person, and not as just, a married mom of two. That tells you nothing about the customer sitting across from you.
Yeah, and we in a few weeks, we have another guest coming on, Holly Buchanan, who does a lot around trust and what breaks trust. And as you were talking about that, I was reminded when I was a financial advisor, I had a client who told me that she really liked this trust officer because he called her sister by her nickname, which is what the family called her. So instead of calling her Susan, she called her Suki or whatever. And she just felt like, oh, he got me. Like, it was really personal. And it's these little things that build relationships that I think sometimes, because advisors are so good on the left brain, hopefully on the left brain analytical side. And it doesn't, I just want to be clear. It doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman,
Right.
There's certain things that might be easier with communication, but I don't want to paint that broad brush. This trust officer was a guy, so it doesn't matter. But so let me ask about that. Have you found that women only want to work with women advisors?
No, I think women want to work with a man or a male or female advisor. They want to work with somebody that is patient with them, answers their questions, returns their phone calls, answers their texts, answers their questions adequately, doesn't try to overwhelm them, and somebody who kind of ebbs and flows with them as their life changes and is kind of part of their, network, if you will, along the continuum. And you asked in the beginning, like, what are the financial institutions doing wrong? And so often when you look at it, is they were built by men for men. And the reason they're not really engaging with women is because they're still in that model. I mean, how often, Ellen, do we talk about getting more women into the industry? And we really need to do that. However, and it's great for women to be in the industry, but women cannot be, a square peg in a round hole because they cannot adapt to the model that's out there today. So the model really has to change. I liken it to like, and I don't think this is a stretch, but think about when Blockbuster, when Netflix said to Blockbuster, consider streaming, and Blockbuster was like, we got this, right? They're out of business because they didn't adopt, they didn't look long term, they didn't say there are some changes that we need to do today, some things we need to learn about. And the financial institutions really need to learn what women want in their financial advisors. And it is in the nuance, Ellen, like you were saying. It's in the nuance at every touch point when you're engaging with a woman.
And I know this is a little bit off what we're talking about, but in terms of bringing women into the industry, I was talking with a woman who I'm doing some coaching with, an advisor, and her firm is kind of abruptly changing she's newer in the industry, abruptly changing her revenue model. And she's been in the industry only about a year and a half. And I'm like, oh my God, they're so short-sighted, because I think she's doing great considering all the responsibility she has at the firm. And they're moving her more from a more salary position to production-based very quickly without any notice. And I'm like, they're so short-sighted, because I know what you're doing is building relationships with people. You're growing this and your business will be fabulous.
Right.
But they're pushing her in a way that I think, and I said, look, hopefully this will work out, but you're really marketable. Someone else will hire you tomorrow. You've got amazing experience. And so I think there's also this building the model for women advisors. And again, not to put them all in the same category, but that can sustain and grow them as well, because we, of course, want a lot of diversity in the industry.
Yes, it's so important. And it's not, chasing that carrot. It's not dialing for dollars anymore. Women don't purchase that way. And yet, I had a gentleman say to me when I was presenting, he just right in the middle of my presentation said, why don't women buy long-term care? Is it because it's too expensive? And I said, well, long-term care is really important. And I said, and women aren't afraid to spend money or invest in themselves. Look at the bags we purchase, look at the makeup we purchase, look at the shoes we purchase. We love to invest in ourselves, invest in value, invest in something that's going to make us feel good, feel safe, secure, make us feel good about ourselves. Long-term care is right down that road, but unless somebody really explains to us what it is, why it's important, how it provides security, how it helps us so our children don't have to take care of us, and not base it on price. Women want to really focus on their families, like you were saying at the beginning. Women invest in their families, in their communities, and they will purchase what they think is of value to them. They are not going to purchase something that somebody's dialing for dollars and trying to push.
Yeah. When you told that, I was like, I thought women were the biggest purchaser of long-term care insurance. That guy's obviously not showing value for that. And I think it's also important to not be, like you said, condescending, like explaining things in a way that doesn't land for people, but also understanding what is important to them. I think about, we were talking to a company about doing some landscaping stuff for us. And the guy said to me, I said, I don't understand your proposal. Like, what do you mean by this? And he goes, I know these numbers are really hard to understand.
No.
And I'm like, and I got really defensive. I'm like, I'm a friggin' CPA. Like, do you know what I did for a living?
Oh my God.
And, like it was so condescending. And I'm like, your proposal makes no sense. And so, see, I'm still getting all riled up about this, but like all my clients were super smart. They just might not have been very experienced in this one area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so hard. But what do you think, So what do you think financial institutions have to do to really engage the women's market?
Well, there's a lot of things that they need to do. They have to stop the linear sales process and the dialing for dollars and the pushing the. Even women I know who are in the industry left because they're like, Barb. They would put these, production numbers on me, and I would almost hyperventilate because I can't sell this way. I can't sell to a woman who's, in a one call. And if I don't make the sale in one call, I'm considered a failure. I know women don't buy this way, and it takes more time. But we know when you invest that time and build that relationship, women will give a referral 27 times more than a man will. Because what do? We build webs of influence. We connect with one another. We reach out. Ellen, do you know somebody who's a good dentist in the area? Ellen, do you know somebody who can help me with my 401k? Ellen, do you have somebody in the neighborhood that does house cleaning, right? We talk to each other, and that's how we refer back and forth. And if Ellen's doing it and Ellen's hired this person, I trust her, right? So it's about taking the time needed to build relationship with women, understand who they are as individuals, and really mastering that, the nuances. And I have a course that teaches kind of the nuances of what do women take in when they walk into your office? What do women take in when they're sitting across from you that men never even consider? That is so important to women. It's in the nuance.
So give us a couple ideas, like when now that people are starting to walk back into people's offices, or whether it's your Zoom background or whatever, like what are some things that women may be noticing that the men clients isn't important to
I
them?
can give you a personal experience. I walked into an insurance person's office because I was buying a house. I needed to get insurance. And there was just paper and crap everywhere on the desk, on the floor, in boxes all around. And I, kind of retreated and was like, I don't think I can trust this person with my documentation. It looks like a bomb went off in this place, right? And I kind of retreated back out and was like, I don't know if I can do this because I didn't immediately when I walked in, did not feel like it was trustworthy that I could do it. Ellen, it's as simple as, do you have a sign on your door that says who you are and what you do and how to get there? I mean, I've known people who are in these strip malls or whatever, which is fine, but you can't find them. And if it takes too much time and it's too much work for me to find you, forget about it. And I'll even tell you this, and it sounds very crazy, but if you have a working mom who's running in, has a child, maybe in a stroller, they're in there, they have to pay a bill or ask a question or whatever, and the little one has to use the restroom, that was usually my worst nightmare when I was out with my children, right? Because every restroom, you didn't want to touch anything. You didn't want your kids to have to go in there. But something as simple as, yeah, we have a restroom that's clean and it's comfortable. It has everything you need. I mean, this is what moms are dealing with every single day, trying to get their chores done. So I say be like Amazon, right? Get the rub out. Make it as simple and easy and as a pleasant experience as possible.
But the kind of part of Amazon we like, not the part of Amazon that we don't like.
Absolutely. I'm
Right.
just saying, make your experiences very fluid and easy and no brainer.
Well, and I love that you talk about the environment. We used to have come in with fresh eyes periodically and say, what does the office really look like? Because
Yes.
it's easy to ignore things. So I'll disclose something I just said to my husband. We have to get this fixed because I haven't even noticed it. So we got a dog during COVID. And when Honey was a puppy, she chewed on the drywall right by the front door. And I put a piece of duct tape over it. It has been there for 2 years. And I'm like, we can't have, it's my family's coming for the holiday weekend. But if it wasn't my family, I'm like, we can't have people over. I have a piece of duct tape on the wall. Like we have to get this fixed. I didn't even notice it because and I think that can happen in our workspace.
All the time.
And I used to have, when I'd see clients, I had a round table behind me and I always had them facing away from my desk. So if it wasn't perfectly meticulous, they weren't looking at that. They were looking at a really peaceful picture and a clock that they couldn't see. So that was very curated in a way. I had a box of Kleenex because it was really okay if people cried in my office.
Yeah.
And sometimes they did.
You attended to the details. I mean, every day, Ellen, I mean, I've heard horror stories. I had a client who said my professional took a phone call from his doctor in the middle of our conversation and thought nothing of it. I say to people, if you're at the grocery store and you're handing over money, I want the person I'm talking to, hi, I always acknowledge, hi, how are you today? Maybe call them by their name if they have a name tag, which I love because people love to hear their own name, and engage with them, right? I don't like when that cashier is talking to somebody at the other cashier station about what they did last night, right? You have to acknowledge your customer. And that's just a simple transaction in a grocery store.
Yeah.
Think about handing your nest egg over, right? You want to be fully present in that conversation. And too often people treat it too casually.
Yeah. And I know Horse's Mouth has a program that they're working with some of their advisors to really look at what their discovery meetings are like. And even if you're a top producing advisor, and even if you think you're awesome at it, when you're really looking with fresh eyes, I think we can all, as you sharpen the saw, like get better at, doing our work in an even better way. So if you're out there thinking, no, I got this, I totally understand that, maybe there's ways it can be upgraded even more. So, okay. So what are a couple ways that advisors can really engage the women's market, whether they're currently doing it or want to expand their influence in this market? What are some things they can do to really be better engaged in a more powerful way?
Well, first of all, you have to really understand, where is your market? Like, are you working in a neighborhood? Are you looking around to see where the women are? Where are they going? Where are they eating? Where are they congregating? Who are they? Are they moms? Are they working professionals? Who's in your network around those people, right? Because it's going to be different for different markets. So I think it's, doing some investigative research around who are the women in my market and what do I know about them, and really doing some going deep there. And it could be several different types of groups. It might be moms who are working from home, and it might be moms who are corporate, and it might be, I don't know, single women, whoever it is. Investigate who your market is and really understand and get to know them. See where they hang out, see who they know, and start to practice getting to know who these people are, even in your own client base. If you're having a couple come to the table, what do you really know about her, right? And what's important to her? What are some of the questions you can ask? So it's really about learning, going deep and learning about your market, and trying some new skill sets around learning more than just what their finances are. What's important to them? What are their children's names? What do they like to do in their off time? How do they celebrate holidays? I mean, really getting to know their client in that way, not so much the financial. So I think that's the first thing. And then, like you said, I love that whole fresh eye thing, especially coming out of COVID. If you're going back into your office, have a decorator come in and say, let's take a look at freshening this up. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at welcome mats that the welcome is kind of not even on the mat anymore, right? And those of us women, I'm telling you, it's the nuance. A big, beautiful thing of flowers out in front is very welcoming. A fresh paint on your door. I mean, there's simple things that say, I'm paying attention to the details, right? If you're paying attention to the details of who you are, and that you're paying attention to my details, I know that you know what you're doing, and you're going to pay attention to what it is that I need and I'm looking for in my financial professional.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that this isn't one market, and clearly, this is not a niche. We know that it's whatever, 52% of the population, but all women are not the same. Some of the most successful advisors I know have really kind of super niched this. There's one woman we've had on the show, Jen Dawson, who works with women attorneys. We've had people on that work with breadwinner women, women going through the process of divorce, women finishing the process of divorce, widows, and how to have different conversations, because it's like not it's not women, right?
It's a new world. Yeah.
Yes. So I think that's really, really great, Barb. Any last thing I didn't ask about that you're like, oh no, we have to talk about this if we're talking about the women's market?
Well, I would also say that we challenge women at Purse Strings to come to the table and really learn about their own financial future. So it's not just telling them, what products and services they need, but why is that important to me? Because women will outlive their spouse. They're going to age alone. They're going to be alone during a time where they're going to need more health and welfare oversight. So really kind of creating the story, if you will, for women and how do they want those years to be lived, so you can create for them a life that's really fruitful and blessed as they retire and move into their aging years, but it's one that's, not stressful. And so it's really about helping build a really wonderful pathway for them.
Great, thank you. So I encourage all of you to learn more about Purse Strings. It's a really great network of advisors in all different ways that care about serving the women's market and whatever that market is for them. I know they have educational programs for the women's market, but also for the advisors in their network. It's great networking. I've met amazing people through there, highlighting how their businesses can serve the women's market. So Barb, I know you have a special offer for people listening to this. Do you want to share that with?
Sure. So our model is we provide free tools and resources for women. And then they always say, Barb, who can I go to? Who can I trust? Right. So we look across the landscape for top tier financial professionals who really want to serve a female market. And if they pass our vetting process, we invite them to be part of our network. And there's an onboarding fee for that, which is $349. With Horse's Mouth, they get $100 off of that. And then it's $99 a month every month after that. So just a great little discount to get you up and running on our site.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing this information and for all that you do, Barb. I'm really grateful to know you and have you share this information with our audience today.
Same here, Ellen. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, and thank you to each and every one of you who tuned in today or watching this or listening to it on the recording. I am so grateful. It's been a while since we've done a show. We have a bunch of really great people coming in the next few weeks to share information with you. And my name is Ellen Rogin. You can find out more about me and the programs I have for financial advisors at ellenrogin.com. And if you go to ellenrogin.com/horse's mouth, you can download my special report, which is what extraordinary advisors know that others don't. And so stay in touch, connect with us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, wherever you do that, you'll find me at Ellen Rogin. And the question to ponder today is, how big of a positive impact are you willing to make, especially in the women's market? And remember, be great and create great every single day.